Howdy, guys and girls. Welcome back to another episode of Bros with Brains. We're going to do it OG styles again, just myself and Mr. Benjamin Button Mayfield. No Chris today. He is still dying in prep, coming into the last, I think, couple of weeks before he starts his first show. So we had him on for a cameo last week, but I don't think he's going to come on for a cameo this week or probably in the next couple of weeks.
I don't think he's going to have the reserved energy for it, no.
No, I think he's slowly dying and withering away, but he looks good. So I guess that's...
Oh, it looks phenomenal.
Yeah, so I mean, that's always a plus for him, but short of that, yeah. How are you, sir?
Man, I'm good. I'm really good. I'm busy in a client building way.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to make the most of the time that I have before clients really start to come on and things like take off. I'm like really getting to the point now where we're looking at how we market the results we've got so people can see it's not just about me taking your money. It's like what we can do with you to make sure that you're learning, educating, training, growing, all that jazz.
Yeah, all the fun stuff.
So I've just been doing a ridiculous amount of educational content for clients that there's no websites or like training base yet. I haven't got an app or anything, but at the same time, it's just all G Drive. Like the joys of a $5 Gmail account is that you just make a Gmail and I can give you access to everything. It's basically like a short course on what training means and what nutrition means. And I made some content on how I schedule and things. So I've got a few clients now who run businesses as well. So they're all kind of looking for that other side of management and discipline as well that sort of goes hand in hand with training. So being able to give them that is pretty cool. Just opens it to something different,
Well, yeah, right. It's it's just always the little things, that make the biggest difference.
Yeah. So yeah. It's one thing to have a program and that sort of thing. And don't get me wrong, I look forward to the day where I get just balls to the walls athletes. But the exciting part for me is building the ones that don't know they can do it yet, and then you see them do it, and they're just like, "Oh fuck!"
It's like that light bulb moment. You're like, "Yeah." So now
I've been training to failure. Have you?
Have you though? And now when you actually start to train to failure, so you thought you trained to failure. So where did you actually train to?
Oh, that was a 5 RIR. Cool.
Yeah, now let's get you to a real true failure set where you can't literally do a set. That's why I kind of like the in-person work for that particular instance, I guess, would be, when people are like, oh, train a failure. And it's like, you can tell them and, tell them. But then when you're like, okay, we're going to get you to train a failure in person. There's no running away. There's no shying away. Let's see what you got. And they're like, shit, I did not realize this is what it was entailing. And you're like, yeah. And that was only set one.
Yeah. We have 20 sets left of this workout.
We have much more to go. So good luck, Godspeed, and off we go. But yes.
What about you? How are you doing?
Busy. Couple of clients onboarding, which I hadn't anticipated because I hadn't actually advertised. So I am very thankful for those that are still inquiring. I'm probably going to stop taking on clients very shortly, sort of keep a balanced amount of clients considering now I'm now opening a gym. So that's been very, very hectic, doing all the back end work and getting all the systems in place.
Do you think that's going to be like a 50-50 of your time? Coaching gym?
No. I'm lucky with the clients that I currently have. They're all pretty self-sufficient. So I'm very fortunate that I get to work with the clientele that I do work with, where they're not as, I guess, hands-on. They're a bit more advanced than your average gem pop. They are a bit more goal-orientated. So it makes my life a little bit easier in that sense. And I just help facilitate, obviously, that goal. There are times where they are, or they can be not so much needy, but there's obviously requiring a little bit more attention, whether they're going through some shit or whether they're, getting closer to a goal, whether that be like a powerlifting comp or even a, bodybuilding prep, a photo shoot, or if they start running into health implications, which obviously require a little bit more attention to detail, which I've got a couple sort of going through at the moment, which is interesting. Provides an interesting take from my end to try and solve the problem or help solve the problem, depending on if it's in my scope, obviously.
Wait, you mean stay in your scope?
Yeah, 100%. No, because I go outside my scope. I actually act as a surgeon. I'm a neurosurgeon, so I can tell you how to do a lobotomy with a knife and fork. So yeah, short of that, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It'll be interesting to see what happens once the gym opens, because I'll obviously be working there in the first 12 to 24 months to get it up and running and help get it up and running and self-sufficient. So to be back to split shift work, getting up early, going to bed late. But I enjoy it. I enjoy working with Gen Pop. I enjoy working and being able to help the masses more than individuals, I think. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
Cool.
I haven't trained much, which has always been interesting. Haven't had a real chance to. Been playing a lot of golf. I'm not going to lie. Been playing a lot of golf, swinging away and shit. So it's been more relaxing though. It's funny. I went to jiu-jitsu, when was it? End of last week. And they're like, man, you look lean. I'm like, fucking hell, I've lost 3 kilos because I haven't lifted anything.
Yeah.
So I guess for those listening, I did actually have a pancreas scare again. Was basically peak stress load. So peak food, well, not so much peak food, actually, I take that back. Peak drug load, peak training load. And it seems to be plus peak stress load from opening a gym does not sit too well on my pancreas. So my pancreas was basically playing up a little bit, and I've been hospitalized 3 times with acute pancreatitis. So this time I obviously didn't go to hospital, but it flared up into a point where I'm like, oh, okay, I have to pull some stuff back. And I don't think I'm going to be able to pull the work stress back. So what stresses can I pull back? So I pulled back drug load, obviously, and pulled back training just quite a bit, to be honest, and just sort of settle a little bit, and no more pancreas issues. So I'll get back into lifting a little bit more weight, I think, in the next couple of weeks, which would be good. But yeah, we've just been doing jiu-jitsu and playing golf. Been living the hippie lifestyle, man. It's great. Fucking great.
Lifestyle.
It's great.
Time. Nice and relax.
Yeah.
See, I've done the opposite. I came back from COVID, and I want to say I listened to Dalton's advice, but at the same time, I said, fuck you, Dalton, and went balls to the walls in every session pretty much as soon as I could.
Yeah, we don't listen to Dalton. Don't be stupid.
Balls to the walls is obviously relative to the fact I had COVID, so I was restricted by my ability to breathe. And
yes.
That's what I was doing. But there was a few borderline blackout sessions, a few hurl sessions, but to actually come back, we did a full 4-week meso and actually progressed from pre-COVID to the point that my body this week was like, fuck you, we need a deload. We need to deload properly.
It's been 3 weeks and deload.
Yeah. And so pretty much this week I've been to the gym yet this week, just doing a lot of steps around the house and stuff, getting all this programming done and that sort of thing. And yeah, then I've got a deload session tonight, deload session Saturday. And then coming into the next block will be my first time programming for myself and Tom. So me and Tommy will be training together. He's still an adult, but we're going to be, because we're basically training together, we're going to look at what volume landmarks we need to hit and where we want to focus and stuff and put that together. So it'll be my first time writing that for myself, which will be interesting, see what I'm willing to punish myself with. And I learned very quickly that a lot of knee flexion and extension on the same day does not sit well with my tendinopathy history.
No, that's not going to be of any benefit.
So we are spreading out that load and allocating that on several days as opposed to pendulums, hacks, and RDLs on the same day. So,
yeah, who would have thought, right?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it because Dalt's always willing, like we're the ones Dalt's willing to
experiment on.
Yeah, to push with and see where things go.
Yeah.
And so we end up with like the fucking cook sessions that just end up like, we remember having this chat with him one time and he had a 3-week meso plan for us where he's like, I just want to see where you go until you physically tell me you can't recover anymore. And we got like 12 weeks into this thing and Dalt hadn't said stop. So we just repeated the same meso. And it got to a point where my deads were like 220 by 5 by 4. And it was like, and then trap bars in there as well. And then squats in there as well. And Smith squats and all this stuff. And me and Tom are just literally walking around the gym broken. Yeah. And it got to like week 16. We're like, Dalt, surely there's a break in this volume yet. He's like, oh, you still go on that program?
Yeah. It's funny. I'm lucky where my coach is like, he knows me because he's got a lot of clients like me. And then he's also himself very similar to me. So it's like when we very first started, it was a very similar premise in that he's like, because we started way back in lockdown and before, I even actually had equipment and stuff like that. We're doing a lot of home workouts. And then once we got into the gym, it wasn't too bad. So basically we have like a perceived recovery score, and it's just like mine was always 8 and 9. So basically, for those that don't know, perceived recovery is like how well do you think you recover post session, and if you're progressively overloading week to week, that score should drop, because in theory you should be crashing and getting to a deload at some point. And me being me, I'm like, nah, I can take it. I can do it. No stress. So for like 10 weeks, it was like 7s, 8s, and 9s. No need for a deload. And then my load started to drop and everything started to waver. And he's like, okay, so we know at about week 8 or 9, you need a deload. And I'm like, sure. And then the next block, then we got like into the growth block. And I'm like, 8s, 9s. He goes, so I'm going to predict about week 4, week 5, you're going to need a deload. Honestly, I got to week 5 and my scores were like 3. I was like redlining. I was fucked. And he's like, yep, I got you, Pat. Down, Pat. I know you. We got it. So even if you say you're good, we every 4 or 5 weeks we're deloading. I'm like, sweet. Yeah, fair call. Yeah, good times. But
it's always interesting when a coach pays attention to the data.
Well, right. It's like coach coach knows you. It's like, it's good. And it's funny because someone like Joe's got like so many like elite lifters and athletes, elite bodybuilders under his belt. But it's like, he knows as soon as like he gives me a progression, it's like, I bet you next week you're going to see like 8-ton progression on a hack squat because I'm a psycho. And it's like, oh, look at my progression, 8 tons. And he's just like, yep, knew it, told you it was going to happen. I'm like, yeah. And he goes, so next week we'll deload. I'm like, pretty much. But I hear something's riled you up again this week, Ben. It's been a while since Ben's been riled up.
Something's
pissed big boy Ben off.
There's 2 good ones. I say good because they're going to be interesting conversations. We may get some interaction with people, we may not. I don't know. But I got sent this a few times, and I've become the James Smith send to guy where people just want to send it to me to either get a reaction or just to see what my thoughts are on something he's doing. Yeah. And it's
100%. It's just to piss you off for fun.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm not mad about it.
100%. Yeah.
It makes for great content, and it allows me to expand on why a certain influencer of the fitness industry is an idiot and not as good as he thinks he is.
Yeah.
Now, who that person is, we won't name, even though I just said the name. But anyway,
fuck them.
Yeah, fuck them. It was an interesting share of his story. So, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm acceptance qualified. So I've studied and practiced acceptance and commitment therapy. It's what I've studied and like alongside my degree, I've got out and done extracurriculars because, well, anyone who isn't doing that is an idiot. And to see someone like him be on the bandwagon, I kind of just wanted to dive into it to let people know how much of a charlatan it can come across as. Because when you follow him long term, he has a very simple left hook combo that he does with his content, where he'll like throw out the bait content, hook you with a feel good story. So you come in and be like, oh, he understands me. And it is then followed with the most generic, boring form of coaching you could possibly hear. To say that you practice or you're encouraging acceptance, and then to simply go out and call everyone like a fat lard and like calorie effing deficit bro and whatever the other crap he says. Why
did you say effing calorie fucking deficit? Come on, we swear on this podcast.
All right, there we go.
Being polite. What's wrong with you?
Me getting polite as I'm angry. What is this?
No, I know. What's wrong with you? Wake up. Anyway.
And to see him after the things he's put out in terms of like people who use drugs, even though he's used drugs, people who don't party and drink because he parties and drinks, people who are bodybuilders because he tried to be a bodybuilder once and failed at it. The ridicule amongst this guy and people that aren't him to then go out and start preaching that he practices acceptance and you should accept yourself for this as long as you accept the other person, blah, blah. Now, what he said isn't exactly wrong. It's just the irony and the stupidity of someone like him saying it and then trying to like lull people in to come to him. And I just find that a really manipulative form of service and sales that is clear as day to anyone who has any sales background.
Yeah.
But to like the Gen Pop who's like, oh, this guy knows his shit. It's just him telling me to eat less. Okay, cool. How do I do that? Well, I don't know. It's this calorie fucking deficit, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do I change my behaviors?
When you look at his following, for example, it's a lot of Gen Pop, what we would deem more Gen Pop clients, right?
Yeah.
So it's like he can come up with generic shit because he deals with more generic person is probably the best way to put it. Not that you are as an individual generic, it's just that you're dealing with a more generic type of person. So it's easier to have a catchy headline to bring people in and then just give them boring information that does absolutely nothing. Like that's because it's a numbers game. It's just a simple numbers game. Yeah, like, 80% of them are going to be like, oh yeah, like that's me. And 80% of however many followers he's got, like a million followers, 100,000 followers. I don't even know how many followers he's got, but he's got a lot. And that's why it just spreads like wildfire and just generates more followers because there's more people on there.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like it's a brilliant market strategy to get, say you get 80% of people paying a $10 a month membership to your website or something like that, whatever it is he does, his Facebook group where he does his live chats, which is where he talks this shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting because in that group, you won't get someone smarter than him to challenge him and say where he's wrong. So in the only situation of another, let's say 250,000 people that you're all a part of, he's the superiority that you're going to for the advice. Yeah. So in that instance, he looks like the genius. Mm-hmm. Like, cool, under this 250,000 people, he's the top guy. But when you actually listen to him talk or know anything about anything in regards to behavior change, science, nutritional research, he has nothing of value or substance to add. No. So it's actually great business. He can just get some basic position statements, regurgitate them, and swear a bunch with a few accents added to it. And all of a sudden he's like a guru and he's given TED Talks on nutrition. But yeah, like at the same time, it's something to be aware of when you follow his stuff. And this is mostly the point of what I was getting frustrated at, is that for every 2 or 3 posts he'll put out that stir the pot, and he'll come up with something like insulting or instigating or like triggering, he'll then lure you in with a right hook that's to try and like nail the sale and get you to join, and you'll get sucked into the funnel. And it's just brilliant marketing. It's literally like it's marketing 101 that he'll do it. But at the same time, people then go and like suck his left nut that all of a sudden he's come up with an absolute brilliant statement. Oh, you should accept yourself, provided you also have to accept the person you're with and they should accept you. And I'm like, yeah, great, mate. Cool stuff. How do I do that? How do I actually go about doing that? What if I don't think that? What if I don't feel that way? How do I arrange my life to make that a thing? I don't know.
Well, he's not catering to you. I guess that's the thing, right? He's like I said, he's catering to the Gen Pop type client who doesn't even know to ask that question, and that's probably where it is, right? It's like, it's like we have the quick fix. And honestly, this is the greatest thing, because my sister will never listen to this podcast, so I'm gonna rag on my sister right now because it's just absolutely hilarious. So literally last night, for those that listening, I live in Melbourne. My sister lives in Echuca. Echuca is like literally close on the border of New South Wales and Vic. That's where she lives. She lives up there with my mum. So before my sister got pregnant and had her baby, her son, my nephew, she was relatively fit, relatively active. Like we played a lot of sports as kids. Grew up playing, tennis and all that sort of stuff. So she was a really good tennis player at one stage, and she really athletic. She did a lot of running, played netball at a high level, that sort of stuff. So got pregnant and then had a baby and put on all this weight. Right now, standard, like any family, they don't listen to the person who studied what it is that the questions are being asked. It's like my dad's also the greatest example of this. It's like I have a background in exercise physiology, with a rehab setting, especially for lower back injuries. And my dad, with his lower back, goes to all these specialists where he has a rehab specialist at home. But that's fine. We won't get into that.
We digress.
So speaking about my sister, literally yesterday, I went and saw her because she's come down for the week, staying at my dad's place. Went and said hello. She is having OptiFast. So for those that don't know, OptiFast is like all these shakes, diet shakes, trying to lose weight shakes, and protein bars. I think they have an array of different foods and shakes and shit, but basically it's just weight loss shit. She has a hen's party on Saturday. So that's why she's having OptiFast. So let's take that out of the equation. So she's 7 days of trying to lose weight. Anyway, right? It gets better. She sends me a Snapchat last night, like a photo, like obviously just a bit of a joke. She's doing some skincare routine on her face. She goes, "I might be the fattest hen there, but I'll have the best skin." So I just replied back like, "Lol, haha, funny." Yes, standard, brother reply. To which she replies, "I think I need to get blood tests." Now, obviously me being in my field, "Oh, why? What's up? I'm concerned." Like, well, what's wrong? She goes, "Oh, I just can't seem to lose weight. Must be a blood type issue."
Breathe, Gaff.
And then she's like, "Oh no, I'm laughing." And then she's like, "Oh, because I never had this problem before I was pregnant. I just replied back, do you remember what you did before you were pregnant? You moved more. You didn't eat as much shit as you eat now. And you were all around healthier for it. And it's just one of those things where it's gone like right over her head. She's like, nah, it can't be. I've tried. It's like, you haven't tried. That simple. Yeah, you haven't tried, darling. Like, I don't know what your definition of try is, but you have trained hard before, and it's what you kind of have to do again for a period of time with limiting or being more mindful and understanding of the food that goes into your mouth. Anyway, it was a funny fucking conversation. I'm just sitting there like, yeah, I'm not doing this. Like, so now every time I get asked by family, I'm just like smile and nod or just smile and thumbs up. I'm like, yes.
I mean, the likelihood of my brother listening to this conversation is probably not very high, but at the same time, his post the other day was doing a landmine press with a flared elbow at the weakest possible position you could put it into for anterior pressing. And I was like, this, like, what are you doing? like, don't get me wrong. It was a fit stop. So firstly, I'm like, okay, at pace, under time, under load, you're doing a weakened position landmine press in the most compromised position that your shoulder socket can go into that isn't going to generate a straight line of force. So like, bruh, simple terms, straighten yourself up, tuck that elbow, single line of movement, stabilize everything, support it. And he's like, no, I'm testing out my whatsy. And it came back. What did he say? I'm testing out my AC joint. And I was like, you're going to test it out by breaking it.
Yeah. It's like people that do like a pec tear and they're like, so get back under a bar. It's like, oh, I'm just testing it. It feels good today. I'm going to test it. Like,
I better load it now.
Yeah, you're an idiot.
I was just like, oh, man, all good. Like, he comes back with a joke and he was like, I was just taking the piss. I'm like, but why didn't no one pull you up? Why are you doing that? It doesn't make sense why you're doing that.
Yeah, there's no thought. It's kind of like, was he thinking it feels good, so I will test it today? You know what happens with tests? They go either way. They can be really good or they could be really bad. And if they're really bad, you set yourself back.
I was just like, man, it's cool that you want to do like the fitness stuff because he's like, don't get me wrong, he's been jacked before and he's trained and stuff, but jacked is relative. It was more like fitness festivals and shit.
Stereo.
But at the same time, literally. But at the same time, I was just like, he's doing fit stop and training. So I was like, I do this for a living, man. Just like, look me a message.
Yeah.
Look me a message.
Literally, that's what I find with those closest to you. They will not listen to you unless they hear the exact same information from someone else that they pay for. So it's like, that's why I refuse to train my family. Like, nah, you want me to train you? I'm charging you. And if you don't want me to charge you, like, forget it because you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Like fuck that for a joke.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky that none of my family listens to this podcast. So we're sweet. Love you though. I swear, I love you guys.
Yeah, mum went through something similar when they had to put her through a bariatric surgery. What she had? Oh, she had to get her tumors and stuff cut out. They put her through all that sort of stuff. Like, oh, you got to lose this much weight in like this time to get put through. And I was like, I know what this means. And out comes the shakes. And I was like,
yeah.
Don't get wrong. Like it's like old dog, new tricks. She's just like, it's just something she's not going to change. Like she's the simple like. And this is the benefit of studying behavior change and like acceptance and stuff. When people talk about this stuff and people like James run their mouth and think they're all like, they're using virtue words to sound super intellectual, is her ambivalence to change is clear as day. So anyone who studies it, anyone knows a thing about it, looks at what she says and how she would say it and go, I really want to do this, but I really enjoy this, but I want to feel healthier, but, and it's like, okay, cool. You're at sustained talk, not change talk, which means we're not at the position for you to change your life.
Yeah.
It's usually for those people that are a bit further along, it comes from like a near-death experience or a massive loss shock experience.
Yeah, some sort of trauma.
And like she's just hasn't experienced that way. She's got a bit of drinking and stuff, which is cool. But at the same time, it's like, the doctor says, all right, you got to rapidly lose some weight. I'm going to do some shakes. And I was like, I could literally tell you how to eat tenfold better than what you're eating. Still enjoy food, but I was like, all right, that's cool. Again, this is where acceptance comes in. That I look at mum and go, I love you as you are.
Yeah.
You, like, this is what you're going to do. There's no point in me being offended by it because you just simply don't want to change.
That's exactly right. And so that's it on our end. It's kind of like, okay, well, we know that you're not going to change. We're not going to be able to change you. We're not going to be able to help you change. You can only help yourself change you when you are ready to and you can admit it. I'm going to accept that and continue to live my life and not get stressed out by your bullshit.
Yes.
Well, exactly. I know. I'm with you.
That was that's a bit of a diversion, but yes, that's kind of that was one of the ones that really got me going. Was James Smith of all people, mind you, directly calling bodybuilders insecure, egotistical, vain assholes, whilst he also posts nothing but himself in dick togs, doing drugs, partying, talking about how big his benders were, talking about how he could get birds if he wanted to, and how he used to be shredded at 10% body fat on 2 grams of test. Oh, was it 2 grams? 2 mil. 2 mil of test, which means nothing. Was it, how much micrograms was it? And his attempt to talk about acceptance and people being who they are and happy as they are, I was like, bro, you are the epitome of a walking contradiction.
What was the second thing that frustrated you?
Oh, the photo I sent you last night. Did I send it?
I gotta remember. You did send one. I gotta remember what it was. Hold on. Let's have a look. Group chat.
I know it's gonna be worth something. But definitely, I saw it and I was like, this is painful.
EMS induces muscle contractions to strengthen and train muscles in a way that can be done through normal exercise. It uses 100% of the muscle group, and a 30-minute session is the equivalent to 20,000 sit-ups or squats.
Let's break that statement down.
I mean, those things have been around forever, though. I remember my mum had one. It was the best. I used to electrocute myself every week.
Yeah.
Those were the times.
The statement of certainty, though, hurts my soul. And like the marketing of certainty, that you're going to use 100% of the muscle contraction that is equivalent of doing X amount of sit-ups. When I used to use those just to stimulate my muscle before I play a game of footy or something like that, like I just I get this contraction firing, cool. Like this isn't working very well. Let's fucking fire it up, do this. Yeah. And that was like the use of them. Now it's apparently contracting 100% of the muscle tissue in areas that are the equivalent of doing 20,000 crunches. Firstly, who the fuck's doing 20,000 crunches?
Yeah. No one. Yeah. The interesting point to a lot of those stims, they're basically stim machines. It's funny. We can look at this one of 2 ways. So we have active and passive like force. So active force is the force that you can physically generate yourself. Passive force is something that can be generated with the use of like an electrical stimulation, but it has to be enough so that your muscle contracts with maximal effort, which is how it works. So it's like the biggest one or the best one is there's a study that was done on a leg extension in America. It's called the strength deficit. That's the technical term for passive force, basically. And what it does is you basically have so on a leg extension, you have, the actual prong that you kick up. So this is stuck in like in a position, and you're forcing as hard as you can, and it measures how much activity and how much force you put through it, right? Mm-hmm. Then what they do is they basically shove an electrode on your quad, and they send a whole stack of electricity into your quad. And then basically as a result, your quad contracts and you produced a ton more force. Now that's force you can never physically generate yourself, right? The amount of electricity that goes into your quad to do that, or goes into a muscle to do that, is nothing that you're going to get from a battery-operated stim unit, or TENS unit, they're called, to basically give you that same reaction. It's not how it works. The other thing is your body cannot handle that much electricity for a very long period of time. The other thing is you have to have some base of resistance to build muscle. You have to have something that it goes against. So in that particular example, your foot's against the actual leg extension, the piece of the leg extension that goes up and down, and it's just stuck and stationary. On your abs, there is nothing there to actually give you that resistance. So basically it's just electrocuting a muscle and making it contract with no force. There's no force, with no resistance. So when you're doing a sit-up, you're fighting gravity. So that's kind of your resistance. Again, very loosely spoken about. So there's a lot of shit that goes on when it comes to like actual muscle contractions and how they work. And simply using a TENS unit to stimulate the muscle, I don't mind doing it for like when you're doing pre-activation stuff, and sometimes if you're especially in a rehab setting and in certain muscles, they're atrophied and stuff like that, and you're coming back from real severe injury, and you want to get some blood flow and
post-operation stuff like that.
Yeah, stimulate some blood flow and stuff like that, and get the actual muscle, get that old sensation.
Actually, I use one post-spinal procedures all the time.
Yeah. They're great for those things.
Yeah,
but they don't build muscle.
No.
Yes. So,
and the other thing that got me was the following that led to the price per interaction with said unit. It was like $400 for, God, it must have been a couple of sessions, maybe $400.
Bro, you can buy 10's unit for $30 on eBay.
I know. And I was like, okay, so firstly, let's say you do 2 weeks of these visits, right? $800. $800, and this isn't even to plug me. This is just a value comparison of what you get from either myself or you. You will get access to a specified, personally constructed meal plan, programming and periodized programming, oversight, check-ins, face-to-face calls, access to educational content, access to a variety of other people that come with that information and content, plus, membership groups and like information articles, all that stuff. That will get you 8 to 12 weeks of that, depending on how often you go. And that will actually yield results and probably greater development of motivation, understanding, research, science, study, all that stuff. And you think you're going to get that from 2 visits to a machine for half an hour?
Bro, I'm going to start setting up those 10 machines in my garage and start charging $100 a pop.
Fucking right.
I'll sell it at a discount.
Existing clients get access to this.
Yeah, not even new clients get access to this. I'm going to fucking undercut these guys, this brand, and still make a killing because I'm going to spend $30 a unit.
Jesus Christ. I get it might be an expensive unit. Maybe it's got a higher degree of voltage running through it where you might get some greater power or contractile force, but at the same time, again, half an hour and you're claiming it's going to have the equivalent of a certain amount of whatever. And I'm just like, it's painful because sadly the marketing will get to people who think they don't know any better and that's going to be the quick fix and that's going to be the solution. And it's resulted in X, Y, Z. And usually in conjunction with people who have got results with it, they've cut down food. They've decreased carbs, which is likely to decrease palatable foods like takeaway, fats, fucking cake, ice cream, pizza. And they've lost weight with it and then gone, I've toned up. No, you haven't. You've just lost fat mass. I'm
more concerned about those that actually charge so much for those units. It's like, fuck, man. Honestly, I used to have like 4 of them.
Oh, no. It's not for the unit itself. That's just a visit.
Bruh, that's fucked.
That's a service.
What else are you getting? You're getting like champagne, caviar. You're getting like a buffet lunch, foot massage. Like, what are we getting for this much money?
That was my concern with the comparison here of what the value add is, that what you think you're getting versus what you could be getting.
Yeah, like I'll throw in a can of Coke. Look, fucking.
I'll give you 1 can of Coke and you die in a week.
I'll give you a meat pie and a can of Coke with some fucking stims, bro. I got this.
Man, it hurt I'm watching this and I'm like, sadly, there are people that follow said person who are going to look at this and going to go, that must be it. I've watched her change her body. I've watched him change his body. This has got to be that thing. Instead of the 200 other coaches that are probably one step away from her network that you can look at and go, actually, this guy probably knows better. And these people probably know a bit more. And thankfully, this is where the benefit of the TGA is coming in. They've barred affiliates and marketers and online influencers from promoting products and making claims now. Not just the products themselves. The influence can no longer be paid to make claims.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like, I agree with it mostly. It's just those that actually don't do the wrong thing and promote stupid shit. It's like everything. There's always 2 sides because I know that there's a ton that only like literally talk about the benefits of like protein powder.
Yes.
Like,
I've done the same thing.
You know what I mean? Because it's like promoting protein powder. Like, there's nothing wrong with promoting protein powder.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with people using your code to buy protein powder.
I think the thing is that the TGA is coming out with is it's the claims that are being made about.
I know.
They can't be endorsed for sales for that.
Yeah. Which is like, I get it. It's not a bad thing. I just feel like the TGA, being so backwards as it is anyway, needed to be a bit more specific in what it is that they were banning and stuff, and not having blanket statements.
Yeah. And there's that other side too, where we can't just assume that everyone has malice intent.
Exactly.
When they're executing things.
Yeah.
It just may be like this person probably didn't have ill intent in their claims. Perhaps she's paid well by them to say this, or she's used it and thought it worked, but doesn't understand the mechanistics behind why she got the result or why this thing happened. And so correlation to her is causation, and she's got, that's it.
Well, half of them would be given, like, you get given the product to test it. Then they give you like a little pamphlet or flyer and it's got some details on it. And then when a lot of them promote the actual supplement, that's all they type. They type it on their fucking phone and post it on Instagram, what's exactly on the flyer. And you're like, you fucked up.
See, when I would sign athletes to Nutrition Warehouse that represented my store, I would tell them, you are here because, and not in a negative way, you have a reach and interaction with people. You're in the fitness industry. You do something fitness-wise, but you don't have the fitness knowledge for this product. So you don't need to make claims. This is what I will tell you to say. And it would be like, don't go off from this. If you just want to share this, I don't care. If you want to talk about what you felt from it, great. But don't say anything besides this, because I would go get like the ISSN position statement. I would get the product statement, not from the brand that was selling it, but from the actual evidence of the product. Yeah. So I would do my diligence behind the fact that I was getting someone to market, but I know a lot of owners and managers aren't like me. And you're just getting someone with like 30, 40,000 followers being like, hey, put your ass next to this in a box of fucking green tea and tell everyone that it's antioxidant producing and it's fucking great for fat loss metabolism. You're like, is it?
Yeah. I remember my first ever protein sponsorship. I think I had less than 1,000 followers at the time on Instagram. It was like 6 years ago. I think they were called Redback Nutrition. I don't think they're around anymore. They literally had like 2 protein powders, chocolate and vanilla. I'm not going to lie, both tasted like shit. They tried. Hopefully, if you guys listen, I appreciated the love, but your product was shit. But it's probably why they went under. But
hey, good news. In good news, to finish off on the rant. Now, contracts depending on things have to be finalized, all sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. The boys have fucking secured themselves a potential sponsorship for the podcast.
The boys, mum, we've made it. We don't need to live like this no more. Done. That's it. Game over.
We're only 30 levels in and we've already beat the game. Here people are taking years and we've conquered it in 30 days, 30 weeks.
But true. Fuck, we're going for ages now, haven't we?
Yeah. We're only doing 1 episode a week.
Yeah. You guys keep listening to us. Like, why?
it's going up as far as I remember.
Yeah. The numbers are actually going up. I'm like, oh shit. Like, we have fucked up here.
We may actually have to keep doing this.
Bad. I wonder what would happen if we missed a week. Like, would our regulars just be like, "Where the fuck are you guys?" Like, when Bro Chat don't do one for ages, you're like, "Where the fuck is this podcast?" Yeah. And then you find that they've done one on YouTube, and you're like, like really?
Yeah. My guys will send me a message Friday being like, "Is the episode out today or Saturday?" I'm like, oh, "Fuck, Saturday, I think."
Every Saturday mornings without fail, they come out now. So we record on the Wednesday, out on the Saturday. We've got it down pat.
But yeah, so that'll be cool. Everyone will get access to a discount code for being long-term listeners. Potentially a online supplement company.
Nice.
No ridiculous claims, no stupid endorsements, no regurgitation of false information, and it's by us three. So chances are that it's being bullshit is probably pretty low.
Yeah. We'll definitely put some spin on it for fun because...
Yeah. Oh, this fat burner definitely was going to shred 25% body fat in 3 days.
100%. That weight loss shake was definitely going to make you lose 6 kilos in a day. No stress at all.
Oh, you want to do a protein sparing fast? Cool. Just have this mixed with some carbohydrates.
Yeah, pretty much. Because they all do the same thing.
Yeah.
Should we move into questions?
Yes. Let's do it.
Yes. So I thought I'd throw up an interesting question today and be like, what's your best bro tip? And a couple had answered, not too many, but a couple, because then a lot of them just throw up like, would you rathers and fuck, marry, kills, because apparently that's what we are known for these days. So best bro tip. Drinking water with salt and bicarb reduces stomach fat. I'm not going to lie. I actually hadn't heard that one.
That's new to me, but I like it.
Yeah, BRB, going to try it with my next water. But yeah.
None of those mechanisms make sense about losing fat from your stomach.
Yeah. Why?
Nothing even about them makes sense for losing fat, let alone from your stomach.
Yeah, I wonder why, who thought of that and for what reason? Like, what reason behind salt and bicarb would make you lose
Is bicarb fat? Because of its performance benefits on endurance?
I don't think they would have known that.
Yeah, neither do I actually.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's a presumption on my behalf that they were smart.
Yeah. Like that would make a little sense, but no, I don't think that's it. Anyway, people are weird. If you're hungry, just go to sleep. Sure.
The classic avoidance technique.
Yeah, like, cool, it's 11 a.m. and I have 3 meetings today. I'm just going to go to sleep because I'm hungry. You fucking serious?
To dive into that, one of the coaches at a place that I used to work with for NW, they would have a fitness page. She would have a fitness page. And in her coaching was like coach, mindset, lifestyle, all this stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the
she, her.
Yes, she, her. One of her question boxes got up, and she's like, "Oh, how do you pass hunger?" And she was like saying what she eats, was like all about her eating strategies, and then it came up about how she deals with hunger, and it was literally textbook avoidance strategies that are hand in hand leading to people developing eating obsessions. Mm-hmm. And it was just nothing but avoiding the situation and like practicing avoidant coping strategies to get through hunger instead of practicing acceptance, mindfulness, understanding that hunger is a byproduct of what you're trying to achieve, all this jazz, like actual coaching. Mm-hmm. And it was nothing but like, oh, I just go up and go to sleep, or like, I'll have my meal and I'll have steak and salad and go to bed or stuff. I'm just like,
I mean, what a life though, to be able to sleep at midday because you're hungry.
Oh yeah. Like first world problems of someone who has split shift lifestyle, lives at home with mummy and daddy.
And the funny thing is you're clearly not that hungry because you can't sleep when you're that hungry.
Oh yeah, no.
Like when you're hungry, you're not sleeping, bro. Like in what world are you sleeping? You're sitting there trying to sleep thinking, fuck, I'm hungry, fuck, I'm hungry, fuck, I'm hungry, fuck, I'm hungry. Clearly person has not been hungry enough.
Nope.
Yeah, that's funny. Don't train legs because you don't want your pee-pee to look small. I mean,
make a choice.
Yeah, that's not a bro tip. That's not like false. That's true.
That's right.
Like your legs get bigger, your penis looks smaller. That's just how it is.
It's all ratios and angles.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I have small legs, but also have a small. You guys tell me. What do I do?
Mean, it's like I've been told it's not the size; it's how you use it. But you know,
that's just someone trying to make me feel better.
I mean, like, yeah. I mean, I feel like that's just a visual thing. You can't help that. It's just, hey, your legs get bigger by definition. Everything else is gonna look smaller.
Yes, it's kind of how we develop the X-frame. It's literally one of the judging factors that come into competing.
Yeah, and they definitely do not look at your penis. I mean, unless it's not tanned. No. Tip for Chris. You have to train bis with chest, tris with shoulders, and never legs.
The old antagonist-protagonist training.
That part doesn't bother me so much, but I've never actually, like, as a bro tip saying you have to train bis with chest and tris with shoulders. I've never come across that. Yeah, like it's like as a have to, but I've never also come across and never train legs. Like that's strange. Like who's not telling you to train legs? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a like definitely someone got a stereo.
Yeah, I feel like most of the bros would train legs. I guess define bros. Bro, yeah, I guess that's where we need to be a bit more deliberate, because in my head I'm like bro, like a bro is like a bodybuilder, like a proper bodybuilder who actually trains legs. But I guess the interpretation of bro could be T-stringer, stereo wannabe,
Adidas bum bag.
Yeah, never trains legs. So that makes sense from that aspect. So that one I can understand. Yeah. So you guys are the human centipede. Who goes where? Shotgun front.
Shotgun the front.
And Chris can be the middle.
He needs the calories. That's cooked.
Yeah. Yeah. Some spastic wrote, "Don't be a fool, wrap your tool."
That's good bro advice.
I mean, now here's an actual question. So this is nothing to do with the bro tips. I'm trying to read if there's any actual other ones. No, so these are all actual serious questions. So that's enough for bro tips. Unless you got, what's your favorite bro tip?
My favorite bro tip?
Mine was definitely the anabolic window. Like protein, you have to have protein as soon as you finish working out. That was always my favorite.
Yeah, that's a good one. And I think that's probably your top-notch bro tip.
Yeah, like that's, like the epitome of bro. Like
chicken, brown rice, sweet potato.
Yeah, protein every day. Protein every 3 hours. Like those bro tips were the OGs.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were good. So, is there a market for a male version of Fernwood? The argument to that would be every other commercial gym.
Yes,
is probably that. So,
but in the regard, I guess, to a males only facility, absolutely not.
No.
There would be a demand for it by all means. Like,
do you think though?
I think there'd be an interest, because it'd be that I think it'd be how to word it. I think it'd be of interest to people to check out, because it's going to be a place of like just sole focus. Like it's like, and don't get me wrong, this is not to say every guy does it, but there are the interest of competition, testosterone, and things that when it's just guys around, that happens. And so like,
yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting though, because I guess on the other side to that, most gyms, commercial gyms, that cater to both male and female and male dominant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, would a male only gym, like again, Fernwood being a female only gym, be of interest? And it's kind of like, well, would it though? Because gyms are already basically dominated by males anyway. So it's like, I feel like if you were going to do a gym like that, you wouldn't be looking at necessarily like male versus female. You'd probably be looking at the type of male you're bringing into the gym.
Yes,
so,
yeah.
Like maybe newbies, guys that have never ever trained before, for example. Yeah. So it's like, you're fresh, you haven't trained for 12 months. Yeah. You want to come into an environment where you're probably not seeing crazy jack dudes taking all the plates and seeing all this weird shit. Maybe.
Here's a fun fact to support that data. Whilst a lot of the marketing and advertising and the confrontations around the fact that people think that women have insecurity issues, the research actually shows men possess much higher degrees of body dysmorphia.
Oh, yeah. Dysmorphia. Yeah.
And so that insecurity is actually a lot stronger in preventing men to come to
the gym. Yeah, and that's my point. And that's why I say maybe having like a gym where the guys go in and it's like the criteria is you've never trained or something. I don't know, something along those lines, if it can even be done.
But we know for a fact what happens from that the second it opens.
Oh, yeah, of course. So
without question. The irony being that I know no guy who gives a shit if Fernwood opens, but for a fact what comes from that if it opened.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, look, I'm just thinking out loud, I guess, what factions of like
I think that would be the exact
males you could have for that sort of gym. Like for me, it's like if I look at it from like a perspective, so it's like if we're going to compare it to like a female only gym, I could understand almost, let's say again, for an example, like from a religious perspective, like a Muslim gym where guys have to pray and all that sort of stuff. And obviously the religion separates men and women and all that sort of stuff. That's, for the religion's sake. But I could understand if a gym opened and it was like that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, it's kind of a logical thought process. You know what I mean? So it's like, I guess how else would you do that in terms of the men? Because having just a facility just for men doesn't make sense considering most facilities are men or male dominant anyway. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, well, how would you do it? It's like you could have like a master's gym almost. You could have like an over 60s gym.
Yeah.
Men only.
It'd be that facilitating. It'd be kind of like that facilitating, like almost like a bridging course to go from like a diploma to your master's or your
Kind
of like you don't want to feel intimidated or challenged in a big environment of dudes who are nothing but jacked. Yeah, you want to go to a place where you can still learn the fundamentals. It'd probably be that type of environment.
Yeah. Or you could simply do what a lot of gyms do, and they just have, how like the gyms are commercial gyms, but they have like the female only section of the gym, and it's like you could do that as well. I mean, that's always an option, right?
Yeah,
commercial gym and have like a newbies only section.
I always find that marketing and terminology interesting because, like I said, a lot of the reason stopping men from getting into the gym is the us type that might be there. Though we're probably the nicest people to talk to, and we'll chat more shit than people who are probably like more dickish about it.
Yeah.
We'll tell you everything you need to know in the space of 5 seconds about what to do for this session. But at the same time, that stops a lot of guys from coming in to get into training. So the idea that a woman's only section is what's needed to avoid the uncomfortability and the insecurity and the challenge, I guess, and whatever may come from it. I think there's a degree of men who need that facility. That region, that area of the gym.
Yeah, I feel like it's it's probably warranted on both sides, right? Fuck, marry, kill Hank Scorpio, Duff Man, or Herb Powell.
Or who? Hope.
Herb Powell.
Oh, Herbert.
Yeah.
I'm
gonna marry Duff Man for his muscles.
No, see, I'm gonna marry Hank Scorpio, billionaire villain.
Yeah, but it's Duff Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like you get an endless supply of beer.
One of my first episodes when we bought the cassette was the episode when Homer goes to what's the city he moves to, and he runs the nuclear power plant.
Springfield.
No. He moves. Oh, Hank Scorpio.
Sorry. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. The other. Oh, yeah. What's the other town?
Oh, God damn it! They moved to a town to get away because he's in. Is he being? Oh, I'm thinking of a different episode. God damn it! What's the town he moves to? Because they end up in like this really sophisticated school.
Yeah.
But goes to like the remedial class.
Yeah. I remember. I'm trying to think of.
I fell off the jungle gym and they think I'm slow, eh?
Yeah.
It fucking hurts me every time. And then there's just the guy, the kid who's like, I start fires.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. What an episode.
I'm trying to actually think of the town that they moved to.
Yeah, I can't. Hang on. What town does Scorpio
Ben is now searching.
Live in? I need to know. It's one of my favorite episodes. I've stuffed it up. Up and down after arriving at their new house at 15201 Maple Systems Road. Homer's new boss takes.
Doesn't say.
Doesn't say. Just tell me the town he lives in. Where did Hank? Here we go. Cypress Creek.
Oh, there you go.
God, that's so annoying. The Denver Broncos.
Yeah.
I think going to the Denver Broncos is pretty cool. Shut up, Marge.
We're going to be here all day just doing Simpsons quotes.
Best episode.
So yeah, fuck, marry, kill. Which one are you going to do?
I'm marrying Scorpio for that dollar bills, yo. And
okay.
he's one of the first billionaires who combines a sports jacket and jeans coats. If you watch the episode.
Yeah, still. Go on. So who are you gonna fucking kill?
Oh, I'm definitely gonna fuck Duff Man because, well, it's Duff Man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And then whoever the third one was, I'm gonna kill.
Herb Powell. Right.
Yeah.
I guess I'm going to marry Duff Man because endless supply of beer. Going to kill Herb Powell, and I'm definitely gonna fuck and then rob Hank Scorpio.
Oh, you're gonna change the category.
I just added. I didn't change. I added.
Fuck and rob.
Fuck and rob. What is Ben's sleep routine like?
There's a few people who've been
non-existent.
At the moment, it's pretty non-existent. It's it could definitely be better. I'm hitting 7 now. It was just not the time frame I usually prescribe to people. So I have this issue where, because what I do is very exciting to me and I get more worked up by providing for people than I do like thinking about sleeping. One of the issues is like I'll stop recording and making content stuff like 10 or 11 o'clock at night and be like, oh, I've got to sleep. And then, shut down, try and get a meal and go to bed. So it's resulting in a much delayed sleeping routine that I like. So I've got to try and control and correct that where I'm actually doing these things, but because Brooklyn works in the office as well, she's doing her stuff. So recording during the day and stuff sort of is a throw off. And we've been experimenting with training at night. So I'm not getting home from the gym till later. So we're going to move training to the morning to get that out of the way, get general work done during the day, and then have the evening to record when no one else is here in the office. Yeah. So yeah, that's sort of, it threw me a bit because once I got started, I was like, I just go, and all of a sudden I've done 12 different snippets and different fucking headings for them and all sort of shit, and I've snippeted it and edited it and uploaded it. So that's that's slowed me down. That's changed things a bit. So I've got to correct that and make that better. But the actual routine will generally just be what am I doing? Generally a meal probably like an hour before I go to sleep. Not ideal for everyone, but I don't know. I like going to bed feeling full. Mm-hmm. So I'll do that. And then generally just be something silly on the background that I'm just winding down to. So it's like Brooklyn Nine-Nine or something like that that's just playing for just drivel.
Yep.
probably read through some emails and stuff, or read through some replies to people in terms of like client questions and things like that, or do some little bit of research. And yeah, then pretty much white noise, aircon, 3 pillows, all the usual stuff we prescribe, and then I'm out. I sleep like a fucking log at the moment. Like I'm waking up drooling on myself.
Yeah.
It's just
I have no idea how you can train in the evenings, man. I am useless after midday when it comes to lifting weights. Forget it. No chance.
Oh yeah, I don't know. Like it's. I tried during the morning, but like morning sucks. But at the same time, to train with Tom, it's got to be either early morning or evening.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, like for me, man, it's like wake up, shower, eat, go gym, like straight away. Like it's prime time, like ready to go.
Yeah. We are going to change that. So we're gonna try. And we both said, I said to him, like, I'm dog shit at training in the morning if I'm by myself, because I'll just be like, oh, I'll just train later in the Arvo. But if I'm committing to someone else, like, I don't want to not rock up and then be there and then be pissed at me.
Yeah.
So same with Tom. He's like, I'll be the exact same. He's like, I'll suck at it by myself unless I have absolutely no other choice. But if you say yes, so we're going to try with the new program. Probably next Monday we'll try like a 5 a.m. session.
Gross.
Depending on his office hours, because he's usually working from home, but could be going back in the office now. So yeah, it might be moving to like a 5 a.m. session, which will mean I have to get to bed much earlier. And get up earlier. So yeah, that'll be an interesting shift.
That's gonna be gross.
Yeah.
What else we got in here? Will the use of free weights be less in the future as machine equipment quality gets better? No,
I don't think so.
No, at the end of the day, free weights do have their place. You know, external stability versus internal stability. So that in itself has its place. You know, free weights are also great in rehab settings, as well as powerlifters need to use free weights. So there's still always going to be the use of free weights. And sometimes, man, you just got to get on a fucking bench press and lift some shit. Yeah. Sometimes you got to get under a bar and squat. And sometimes you just got to rip a deadlift. Like you just can't help it. It is what it is. So there will always be a place, not to mention like we should probably make it a little bit more in depth than that, like resistance curves and all that sort of stuff. And, you know, strength profiles differ between machines, cables, and then again with free weights. So in what's the best word? In an optimal program, there would be a nice balance of free weights, machines, and cables, again, provided you have access to all three. But yeah, I can't ever see machines taking over free weights. No, I feel like they will always be working side by side.
They're too different to be mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
They need to be amongst the program evenly for different reasons.
Plus, haven't you seen that leg press video where the guy's doing a leg press and a dumbbell incline press at the same time? Man, it's a thing of beauty. Like, it's just
that's some good stability, because if that's a heavy enough like leg press, it should want to push you out.
Yeah, it's 2 birds, 1 stone, man. Like, that's your workout. You do that, and then like maybe some hamstring and back movement, and you're done for the day. Get out. Like,
that's your week. You're done.
Sorted. Do that twice a week, and you've hit your minimum effective volume, mate. You're all good. Last question. Where can you buy cuffs for cable exercises? Actually, I did say this to one of my clients literally last week. Go to Rebel. Rebel Sport have them. I think they're about $30. Pretty sure. They're like a thinner black one. They have like a T on them. I can never remember the name of the brand. But yeah, they're $30. Cheap as shit. They don't have to be the 1MR cuffs that we have. Like 1MR is based in England. The dude is named Josh. I want to say it's Burridge, but it's not. What is his last name? Burridge, I think, is my client, so it's definitely not him. What's his name? Tell you.
Josh is gonna love that shout out.
Yeah, true that. 1MR UK. What's his name? Actually, I wonder if he's tagged himself in it so I can find it. No, that'd be right. What is his name? He is an IFBB pro now. I will find it. I got too many Joshes on my Instagram. That'd be right. What is his name? It's going to do my head in. You know what? Let's find his coach, because I know his coach. I can find him that way.
And this is the part in the episode where someone with good editing skills would put in the or we just get Dave to edit in that part where The Simpsons when Homer's trying to think and it zooms into his head and the thought bubble appears. It's just a monkey clapping.
Yeah, pretty much. Josh Bridgman is what I was looking for. Anyway.
Yes, yeah.
That was really bad on my part. But yes, Josh Bridgman 1MR. They are the cuffs that I like to use. Yeah. I think they're like 25 pounds or something, 27 pounds, give or take. And then you got to pay import costs. So have fun with that. Mailing costs and all that shit.
And wait the 6 years of delivery time that comes down.
Yeah, actually, they weren't too bad. I think I got 3 sets last time. I think they took about a month. So they weren't too bad. And that was during like COVID. So
yeah, fair cop.
Yeah, they weren't too bad. But yes, that is it for questions on my end, good sir. I keep thinking there's no point playing this new game until Chris is back on and with some life in him, because the new card game is really more than 2 people.
Yeah.
So
I guess how many answers can Ben come up with?
Pretty much. On next week's episode, like you had proposed, we could do a natty or not segment. That should be fun.
I think that'll be interesting.
I guess we can put it to the people, and when we ask the question on the Wednesday morning on both accounts, my account and the Bros with Brains account, say natty or not, and then you guys can put in who you want to know or who you want us to pick as natty or not, and we can
rip into.
Yeah, we can have a look at that. That'd be some fun. Anything we need to know first and foremost, Benny boy, before we get off?
What do we got? No, I'm just working away on the workshop for STC. So I'm going to be doing something for those guys, working away for Tom on his Nutrition Pro course, helping him out with some behavior change stuff. And yeah, no, I'm still wide open for client intakes. So don't think I'm full, you can't reach out. Send a message, email for the right suit. I'll definitely get in touch with you and get back to you. So yeah, pretty much just moving forward with that, getting as much content out for my clients that exist or that I have. So at the moment it's just chopping along and making those things happen.
Beautiful. Not much going on with me, bar opening a gym. So really that's it. I had a whole stack of things in place and, on the works to do, but that's sort of all now been thrown out the window or put on pause for a little bit while this new venture gets sorted and to take off. So once that's up and about, I'll look to do the seminars and stuff again. I will actually coming up to Brisbane. I will be coming up to Brisbane, I want to say end of June, start of July. So that should be fun. I'm coming up for the Shallow seminar. Got a ticket, so I'll come up and say hello.
Oh, Jordan Shallow?
Jordan, yeah. So I'll jump in, say hello, and then we can do some shit, have some fun.
Yep.
Hopefully eat a lot of food. Or are you dieting then?
I'll be, me and Chrissy will be swapping roles at that point. I'll be dieting by then.
Well, fuck you both. I'm going to be eating all the sushi, so I don't care.
What do we got? So June, July, August, September. Yeah, I'll be well in there by then.
Yeah, you'll be dieting well into it. I wonder if you can tie it into a refeed.
That would probably make a lot more sense. That would definitely be.
Or are you too early into the prep to even have a refeed?
Also a good option. Good point.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway, we'll work it out when we get there.
We'll figure it out.
Cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah.
But that's it from us as always. Thank you for tuning in, and we will be with you again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Have a great week.